tonight, let's keep them flowing. Where do you come from? Where are you going? What are you feeling tonight? And what are you showing? Where do you come from? 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 Where are you going? What are you drinking tonight? Let's keep them flowing.
Yes, I'm transitioning over to yes, and we are good and live. And what is happening with the video there? Transitioning over to yes, and we are
Why?
good morning.
Why
and
was I in a
welcome.
corner?
There we go. There we go. Good morning and welcome to
was I
Super
in a corner?
PlayStation Bros, the best PlayStation gaming podcast this side of the sun. Good morning and welcome to everybody. Hope you're doing well. Doragon, welcome back. Thanks for hanging out. We are back. It's been a little bit of time off, but it's good to be back in the PlayStation chair, hanging out with my buddy here and talking PlayStation. What's been going on? What have you been gaming on? How have you been as well? It's been a while since we got to talk.
It's been a while. Start or midway through last month was our last show, and then you abandoned me. You completely abandoned me. How dare you?
I have family
ran away to
responsibilities.
Ran away to America and abandoned me. That's what you did. Can't have the Canadians running over the border. I've been good, man. Been doing a lot of gaming. A lot of work going into a couple of videos that are coming up. So lots of time on the PlayStation, on the PSVR 2, on the Portal as well. That has been broken back out recently. So you can probably guess what's coming up from me. It's just been fun. I've been playing a bit of everything. A bit of Dave the Diver, a bit of Zoe, the Tales of Kenzera, one from the guys over there at EA Originals. So the PlayStation Plus monthly catalog gave us both of those games day one when they came to PlayStation, which was great. I've been playing some Destiny 2 because we've had an Into the Light update, and I've got re-addicted to that good old game. A lot of Gran Turismo 7, been really enjoying that, both flat screen and VR. Basically anything I can get my hands on. We've had a long time away. I've played a lot of games. What about yourself?
Wow,
I know you've been on the road for a chunk. I do, yeah. Now, you've been on the road, so I'm assuming left the PlayStation behind.
Yes, I did. I didn't have the PlayStation, and unfortunately, I didn't have a controller, or else I could have just set up remote play on, say my Surface that I brought with me. But you know what? I felt like it was a good time to disconnect a little bit from gaming. It's always good to take like some time off and then come back to it, and you got this new vigor for what you want to do. So definitely, as soon as I jump back in, there was a lot of games I was going through. Dave the Diver. I want to give a huge shout out to that one. If you haven't checked it out, it's on your PS Plus library. Just got added about 2 weeks ago. I've jumped in and I'm loving it. It really gives me that Moonlighter vibe where you're like fishing, doing something like that, but there's missions, you have guns, there's like terrorists, there's eco-terrorists, there's dangerous fish out there, huge sharks. And then on the other side, you're cooking, you're making food, you're serving up this restaurant. So you have that overcooked kind of experience as well. There is a lot to Dave the Diver, and its nomination is definitely credited to a great game. So if you haven't checked that out on PS Plus, 100% recommend.
Yeah,
Have you
wholeheartedly agree. Great
have you
game.
seen
I've
Dave the
been loving it.
Diver? Yeah, you've
I've
been
been
playing?
playing Dave the Diver. Yeah. Perfect Portal game. If your remote play is actually working, perfect handheld. Just sit there and play and just do your busy work type game. Absolutely wonderful. As you say, like the two sides to it. So the shopping, I suppose, for ingredients when you go actually diving, trying to survive the dive and come
Yeah,
back with the ingredients you need.
stopping.
Um, the chefing, I enjoy that. It's just a well-rounded, well-made game. And then randomly at some point, there's some DLC for Godzilla as well. So I'm waiting to find him. See how that one goes. I don't think I'm going to hunt him with my little harpoon gun at that point.
No, even as I almost got it to the shark gun, the shark harpoon gun upgrade, but I don't even think that's going to take him out. And then on the other side of that, I've been getting into Elden Ring, started a brand new character. I'm getting ready for the new DLC dropping in June. I want to get everything prepped and ready to go. So if you're watching my social media, I'm trying my best to do without a photo mode to get some virtual photography in. But jumping into a classic like that just gives you a real respect for like how games with super attention to detail really come out. Like the architecture on different areas is based off of the time period and the people who made it, the rich history, the fact you're on this broken land. Man, this game has it all, and I don't need to say more about it. Just enjoying it. You may see a new stream come up on Thursday called the Ring Kings. We're going to be getting through Elden Ring and setting up for the Ring Kings. It is an awesome name.
That,
You gotta check
that is
out the
not a good
song.
name. That
Yes,
is
it
not a
is
good
the
name.
Ring Kings. Yes, it is. Oh, if I only had the song, I'd be playing it over us. But I don't know how those rights work. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I enjoyed some of the classics and going back, and the PS5 experience it's definitely got a beautiful looking settings. Like the set pieces on this game are just phenomenal. Wicked stuff.
Nice.
But only those two games for me right now.
You were on the road. You were gone for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's to be expected, but I do think Wibblesniff in chat has a point about the name of your Elden Ring series.
Bottom Bandits. Wow. Bottom Bandits. I see how it is. Wow, Wibble. Shots fired. I'd
You
like
put
to
it out
fire
there.
some shots at Wibble. Okay, he said Helldivers this month. It is May 1st. And I did not see a stream from Wibble. I come into that chat and I'm like, where's Helldivers? I want to jump in. Oh, Wibble.
You couldn't.
I
You
miss
were
you
away.
out there. I know.
That's why he wasn't
2
playing.
weeks.
You weren't there.
2 weeks out of the month. Want to give a shout out to people in chat: Sanchez, MTZ Gaming, Ninja Guy VR, SPG, Ray the Gaming Cyborg, Wibblesniff, of course, and Maker of Chaos. Thanks everybody, and Neil. What's going on? Good morning and afternoon.
Yay,
Yes.
Neil.
Thanks for
Oh,
addressing
Ninja Guy
us
had
both.
such a good stream before we went live. I mean, it was a bit scuff, but I love a scuff stream. It brings me joy when I mess up streaming because it means it's like we're all the same.
Did my voice disappear for 20 minutes? Oh, my bad. It's fine. We carried on in chat.
Did the gameplay stop whilst I was talking? Maybe. It's great. Loved it.
VR is gonna have its hiccups as it's brand new, but very cool games. Nice to see all these different devs really push the boundaries of gaming. But let's get into
Indeed.
some PlayStation news. What do you say?
I say we do. Yes, sounds like a plan for a PlayStation show.
Yes, House Marquee. They had an announcement the other day. They said tomorrow. And then they had a shattering glass of a girl with two different color eyes. And what does a girl with two color eyes mean? It means brand new game, and I demand it now. No, that's not what happened. We got the announcement that there's an animated novel coming out, if I'm correct. I think it was like 88 pages or something like that.
Yeah, so it's a
I'm not
graphic
saying it right.
novel, but there's
Graphic
an
novel.
animated short that you're currently playing, promoting it.
Thank you. I knew it didn't sound right coming out of my head, and the notes are here. So I was personally expecting, they said tomorrow announcements. I wanted new DLC, but Dorgon reminded me pre-chat. It's like, Rudix, you haven't even finished the DLC they gave you. What are you talking about? Stop asking for more. So yes, I got to go back and do Sisyphus. But anybody, he was saying, who hasn't really finished the game because of difficulty level or wanted to experience more of the story, I believe this is going to give you a real background on what's happening. Or if you're in my category and you finish the game and you still don't understand what's happening, because, there is, confusion as part of the main theme, you can check out this animated short graphic novel.
I'm calling your lack of understanding a skill issue.
Yeah, definitely. Or, it's the first story after a couple weeks getting back to it. Dorgon, why don't you, fill in the gaps with facts?
So this is the 3-year anniversary of Returnal. How on earth has it been 3 years since Returnal came out? It's still, in my opinion, one of the best games on the PlayStation 5. Definitely makes best use of the DualSense controller outside of Astro's Playroom. Definitely a must-play for any PlayStation 5 owner, and it has all of the same haptics and everything on PC as well. So if you've picked this one up on PC, do yourself a favor, buy yourself a DualSense and just experience this game in its full glory. So for 3 years down the line, they are celebrating it because they've already given us the DLC, as you've mentioned, that you haven't finished. And they're just bringing more to it. There's still a lot of people who love the game but don't fully understand what's going on, which is why we're getting this graphic novel to give people the story, as you said, if maybe they didn't complete it or if they did and didn't understand what was going on, like the skill issue across from me here. But they're also bringing out basically one of those nice coffee table art books, lots of pages of beautiful concept art, finalized art, like process art, all that sort of stuff. What I love a good coffee book table. I've got quite a few of them, and they just sort of rotate around. So it'd be nice to add a Returnal one into the mix. And there was something else as well. I can't quite remember what the third thing was. Have you got it there, Rue?
I should have it here, but the video was playing. Was it the art book?
We've got the art book. We've got the graphic novel. Was there something else? Or is it just those two things?
88 pages in length, animated version of the first issue. Graphic novel goes on sales 22nd of October. The art book will cost $49.99, and it's 224 pages long. And then that's all it goes into. So I believe it's just those two things that are for sale. You got the two. I think the
third was the trailer, yeah. So
yeah.
That's everything they're doing. It's a nice celebration of an excellent game, and you just need to play some more of it.
Yeah, absolutely. FCAT, if you're out there, we definitely have to get a playthrough in. I know he's been bugging me to help him get him through this game, so I'd love to get another playthrough in. And apparently I have to find some suns, and then I have to beat the boss. So we'll see how well that works. But excellent stuff. I'm a huge fan of Returnal. When I did my playthrough, I absolutely loved every moment of it. It's not a game you got to worry about leveling up or getting to the next level. You start from fresh. These cubes and other parts of it, it really builds on your character. And to me, if you're a fan of Risk of Rain, this brings it to the next level with a compelling story and thrilling gameplay. Plus, the PS5 controller shows off extremely well in this game. I love it. I love the haptics.
Great.
I am bringing this up. Yeah. So the hard R situation from Stellar Blade. That's the next story here. Did this come up? Did you? I think you said this to me, Dorgon. I don't know if you said
I forgot about it. It's just when you say the words hard R, it's the same as your Ring Kings thing. Your brain just goes immediately to the gutter and you're derailed.
Oh my gosh. Well, and no, I smell like tacos. Ray, I feel like that's, you know, a little bit of hard R there. Anyways,
So bringing it back on track, yes.
bringing it back on track. We have a situation where this is what I was sort of alluding to in Elden Ring. You have immense attention to detail. Every piece of brick is sort of placed there and it has a story and a reason behind it. And sometimes you have video game artists that are not necessarily from our culture. So how could they possibly have known this, designing this in South Korea, right? You got to give them some sort of leeway and stretch for that. And that's where this kind of is created. They're just kind of making a scene and a setting, and some things sort of cross, and it's kind of random chaos, and that's how I see it.
It's just a weird, in some ways funny mistake, but I can understand how it could be an offensive mistake. But they've already corrected it, and they've gone through the rest of the game to see if they can find it anywhere else. Essentially, they've got a bunch of graffiti that they made for this game that goes up on the walls. One of them is the word hard, and it just so happened to be next to a building that had R at the start of its name. And this person took a screenshot of it for the hard R thing, which has two different connotations. You've either got the one that we've already spoken about, which is in the gutter, or you've got the other one, which is just completely deplorable. But as you say, the Korean culture doesn't cross with our culture as often. They don't speak English as a first or even second or third language. It's generally their fourth or fifth. So these are things and little things that they won't know about, passes through all of their like internal testing and checking and all that sort of stuff, comes out to the other side, and suddenly they get more eyes on it from different cultures, and something gets highlighted. That's all this is, and it blew up into something completely unrequired. And I feel like that's basically the narrative of Stellar Blade right now. Like anything it does or that is done around it, it blows up to levels that it doesn't need to be at for what is being reviewed as an absolutely phenomenal game for PlayStation 5.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it around. However, some executives at EA are saying this is not fair, and criticizing the ratings board for apparently Stellar Blade getting special treatment. Well, make your game look like that, and you will get special treatment too.
Are you saying that Stellar Blade has pretty privilege?
It's the world has pretty privilege. I mean, why wouldn't Stellar Blade also have it as well?
Yeah, it's ratings boards are weird. One of the most notorious in the world is the Australian one. They will ban certain things and not other things because they just can't give them classifications under their strict terminology and rule sets. But Japan's fairly similar to that. It's got quite strict rules. And what EA are saying here is they got an R rating, a restricted rating, an 18 age rating, depending where in the world you are. They all come down to the same thing. And they got that because there were dismembered bodies and gore in this particular game. And they're saying that Stellar Blade also has dismembered bodies and gore in its particular game. Why have they got a mature rating, not a restricted rating? And the simple answer comes down to, well, you dismembered humans, they dismembered very inhuman monsters without a lot of blood. It's more like tar. They went the more fantasy route with it, which allowed them to come to a lower rating. It's very obvious if you look at it, but as somebody from a business, you play the victim card and try to get rules changed because you want to make more money. I don't agree with it personally. I think the ratings boards have done their jobs in their different geographies, but yeah, like I said, everything around Stellar Blade, A little bit of news, a little bit of something insignificant that wouldn't be brought up from another game because it's this game for some reason. It seems to be elevated to another level. Weird.
Hey, every now and then a game gets a lot of attention, especially if it's an exclusive. People want to talk about it. It's got a bit of a buzz. But that's how it goes. A game that unfortunately suffered what I'd like to call quiet quitting. Oh no, that's the wrong one. This one.
Quiet killing.
Quiet quitting. Quiet quitting. Did I not say that right? Little Big Planet and 16 years of community creations have disappeared. Unlike Nintendo's strategy, where fans got to say goodbye to their games, unfortunately, PlayStation sort of just said pulled the plug, and people will deal with it. Unfortunately, although I can understand the game has been alive for a very long time. They're saying here 16 years.
Yeah.
And at some point, I feel like after 15 years, maybe you shouldn't expect to be keeping it. Maybe they should let people know right off of the bat, hey, your stuff's only going to exist for X amount of time. But this is unfortunate for people who created something they truly loved, and now it's gone and there was nowhere to save it.
Yeah, I've lost levels through this. It wasn't many. I had 5 levels uploaded. I had my very first attempt at building a level on the original Little Big Planet back on PlayStation 3, and then I had a couple from Little Big Planet 2 and Little Big Planet 3. The problem is there's people who created hundreds, maybe even thousands of levels, varying difficulty, that a big part of Little Big Planet is playing other people's levels because they give you challenges far beyond what the game makers give you, that they come up with stuff that game makers couldn't even imagine or think of, or they won't put in there because they want their game to be playable and beatable by as many people as possible. That's where community content like this comes in. The problem is the communication around it. As you said, if you're told, oh, this game has a lifespan of 5, 10, 15 years, and after that it's gone, that's fine. People will understand that. They know what they're getting into at the start of things. What Little Big Planet have done is migrate your stuff from Little Big Planet 1 on PlayStation 3 to Little Big Planet 2 to Little Big Planet 3 on PlayStation 4. I think there's a Little Big Planet 4, I can't quite remember, but it's migrated everything from the very first game. It's always migrated to the latest game, and that latest game isn't 16 years old. Some of the levels in it are, but the game itself is far from that. And in January this year, they said, we've got to shut the servers down for now to offer maintenance on them, bring them back up to scratch, and turn them back online so you can all get your stuff back. Everybody was okay with that. They understand Media Molecule's a little studio here in the UK, and they were looking at closure at one point. But then they just didn't turn them back on. Sony said, no, we're not going to pay for it. We're not going to flip the switch and give you the money to do so. And they didn't communicate that until it happened. Like today, that is the day that all servers are closed and gone forever, and it's just terrible communication. It makes Media Molecule look terrible when it's Papa PlayStation doing this thing, and understandably, people were assured that this content would come back, and then it hasn't. It's not good enough. It's not good enough.
Yeah, you can understand the frustration. Unfortunately, like you said, Papa PlayStation is making big moves based on numbers, and unfortunately, things have to get cut to put resources elsewhere. But that's the way the cookie crumbles, and we are not on the board, or else we'd save everything and we'd make everything awesome.
We do our best, yeah.
However, don't worry about the Little Big Planet developers. They are working on a new IP. So a recent job listing confirms that Little Big Planet and Dreams developer Media Molecule's next game will be based on a brand new IP. And you can see the job listing put out there. If you are looking for a job and want to work for Media Molecule, feel free to send your resume. But you can tell there that they're talking about bringing somebody on for a brand new IP. Exciting news. This may be something that is perhaps announced at the showcase, maybe not. Who knows what development they are in or what stage they're at. But cool to hear that more projects are coming out.
Yeah, 100%. I think they're about 2 years in. They announced the shutdown of active development on Dreams last year, and they'd already been on about 12 months, 18 months of pre-work, early work on the new IP, and they were just switching the whole studio across from Dreams to this new IP. So we're around about the 2 years into development of it. So we could get something at the showcase, as you say. I think that would be a huge hit for people, and it would go down quite well.
Yep, the job listing is for a principal programmer for art technology, and it hints at a focus on creativity and technical innovation for Media Molecule's new IP. So definitely very far away from actually happening. So probably a little bit of time before we see that come to fruition. However, it is exciting to keep note of. Next one, we have a story from the land of Britain. Doctor Who and the Edge of Time is now available on PSVR 2. So, have you checked this out? Are you excited for this one? What are your thoughts?
I have not checked it out. There's a lot I haven't checked out recently. Finances are just that little bit tight, and despite us wanting to buy and play everything to bring you guys the news, we are still human. We do still have full-time jobs that we have to go to and bills that we have to pay, don't we, Rudig? So yeah, unfortunately, I've not had a chance to jump into this one. I love the Doctor Who games. They're never great, but they're never terrible either. There's always a great level of fun to be had in them. And you put me in VR, you allow me to actually step foot inside the TARDIS with a new series around the corner coming out, I think, this week. I'm on board. It's Doctor Who. It's one of the best sci-fi shows on the planet. One of the longest running sci-fi show on the planet. One of the longest running shows on the planet. I'm on board, and it gives me another reason to break out the PSVR 2. Not that I need many reasons to do that. I will happily break it out whenever.
Awesome. Well, it's good to get hyped for the show with a game, right? The other day I was watching
100%.
Knuckles and I'm like, should I break out a Knuckles game? And I went to look and nothing was on PS Plus. And I'm like, ah, damn, I wish I had something on PS Plus.
Oh, look at Fallout. How meteoric has the rise of Fallout been in these few weeks since the Amazon Prime show came out? It's one of the most played games on Steam. It's in the top 10 sales on PlayStation and such. You watch a show, you get involved, you want to go back to it. So yeah, I completely understand having a game and show coming around at the same time. It's an old game, don't get me wrong, it's a port of an old Quest game from about 2018, but hey, bring more stuff to PSVR.
And that being said, I just want to quickly, briefly touch on this one because I did see it come up on my feed. Sony has now entered the running to buy Paramount. According to the New York Times, Sony and investment firm Apollo Global Management are in talks to submit a bid to acquire Paramount. At the same time, it suggests Paramount is getting closer to making a deal with Skydance. So more companies becoming, what's the word? Together.
Together. I thought you were going to go with the business speak of a conglomerate. You were going to go with the gamer speak of uniting, and you just went together.
Yeah, that's what you're getting from me on this. All right, it's not A+ performance, and I apologize. But I'm bringing some interesting news here. This could mean a lot of things for PS Plus. It could mean a lot of things content-wise. It makes sense with the release of Twisted Metal, how much work the two companies are doing together. It could bring forward making God of War, perhaps, on Paramount, other IPs. Who knows? I'm looking for Sackboy to have his own show out there. So, fingers crossed, but together, LOL.
It's the emojis.
Yeah, the emojis aren't great. What do you think? What do you think about this? Any raw input here? Do you think it's just hype and batter, or do you think it could actually become a thing?
I'm not 100% sure. Sony do well in TV and movies, always have done. I think a big part of this would be gaining IPs. So they could make games based on these IPs, they could make movies based on these IPs, they could make television shows based on these IPs. I'm not a huge fan of it because I have said many times on this show, competition breeds innovation, and a lack of competition breeds basically contempt. And Sony buying up yet another streaming service because they already own Crunchyroll, they already own Funimation, they already own a bunch of others that they've just rolled into like Sony Core and Co. And whilst they do have the highest quality in terms of streaming technology, so that you get the best picture, the best visuals, the best audio, best basically everything outside of sticking a 4K Blu-ray into your PlayStation 5, I don't want everything to become a conglomerate. I don't want everything to join together and be one thing, despite that being what Netflix was when it first started on that side. So I'm in two minds about it. It could bring things both ways. The interesting thing would be, if they did get it, Paramount currently owns, runs, and makes the Halo TV show. What would happen then? Would Microsoft want Sony making a TV show about their premier game franchise? It'd be very interesting. I don't know what's going to come of it, but it would be very, very interesting.
Season 3, all you see is Halo getting hit with the freaking Ragnarok Mjolnir or something. Who knows? Who knows? That is an interesting twist, to have this sort of interconnectedness. But maybe that won't be an issue if Halo comes out on PlayStation, right?
Well, yeah, exactly. If this multi-plat thing of Microsoft's keeps going, like you say, it won't be a problem or a butting head point at any time, will it?
Yeah. The license work is interesting because wouldn't they want to move Last of Us over to Paramount at that point, or would they have to honor the existing deals? It could be a multi-year sort of bid that takes several years to even play out. So maybe something in 2030 we may hear about it when all these shows have a different home.
Yeah.
But just thought I'd bring it to the attention as it is curious and interesting to see.
It is, yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima is going to have trophies, and I'm all for it. PC players, you heard it here, can now obtain a platinum. Congratulations, PC players. You did it.
Welcome to the proper way of earning achievements, PC players. We just need to get Nintendo and Microsoft on board now and get you all platinum trophies. Because it sounds so much better, doesn't it? Oh, I platinumed that game. It's so much better than I got all the achievements, which just sounds like a big-headed brag, not like I made it, I did something incredible. And it's way better than I got XYZ gamer score for this game. Like, come on. Platinum trophies. Everybody needs to be earning platinum trophies, and I'm so glad that PC players are going to be able to do that. It links in with their existing PlayStation account if they've already got one, or they can create a PlayStation account to earn that. It's got cross-play with PlayStation players, and it means that PlayStation account and overlay, you can jump into PlayStation voice chat. So if you've got someone streaming from a PlayStation, you can have their voice in there, whereas Discord currently doesn't include that. The PlayStation voice chat from PC would. There's a lot of cool things with this overlay, with this implementation that Sucker Punch are bringing with Nixes to PC. I'm excited for it. I'm excited for the PC crowd to come and earn platinum trophies. And if you do have a save game on PlayStation, like, say, Wibblesniff in the chat here, you can continue earning trophies. You can't transfer your save, unfortunately, but all your trophy progress will transfer over to PC as far as my understanding goes.
Wibble has a has an excellent comment in there. You can't say the proper way to do achievements and not call them achievements. We should have called them trophies, right?
Everybody else calls them achievements. They just need to update and come into the 21st century.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I'm looking forward to it. I wonder if they'll retroactively so the PlayStation UI is only available for Ghost of Tsushima? Like, will they retroactively put it into Horizon? Do you think?
There's no talk on any other game just yet.
Yeah.
It's coming into Ghost of Tsushima at launch. I imagine that the overarching thought process and want from Sony is to add all of their PlayStation Studios games into this in time.
Right.
Some of those are quite a bit older. The porting process was a lot more complex back in, say, Horizon Zero Dawn and God of War 2018's era of being ported to PC. Can it be implemented into those games without breaking everything? Because the crossplay update for Ghost of Tsushima that launched today on PlayStation 5 has broken the game completely. So there's a lot of umming and ahhing, ifs and buts. I think they would want to, whether it's feasible without breaking it. Yes.
Helldivers would benefit a huge amount from this UI. But yeah, I bring it up here because you mentioned it. The crossplay patch has somehow ruined the game. What is with crossplay? Like, is nobody solving this issue? Like, I don't get it. Unfortunately, it seems like PC and PlayStation are plagued with crossplay issues. I see this a lot during my Helldivers streams weekly. We're often hitting connection issues, somebody's dropping, somebody's being isolated into their own world, and I'm just now at the point where I'm like, please don't bring any more updates, just fix what's happening now. But yeah, any more to say on this patch really, shuttering down the crossplay world?
It's really bad. Like, it's taken one of the greatest games on PlayStation and proper balked it. It's basically a slideshow for most people. I gave it a try afterwards. I made the mistake of trying it on the portal on remote play, and I couldn't tell whether it was the portal hitching and stuttering and freezing, or whether it was the game hitching and stuttering and freezing. It was basically unplayable. But Sucker Punch are on it. They've said they'll have a fix out for it in a day or two. So they obviously know what's causing it. It's just one of those things slipped through the net. It didn't seem that bad in-house, or it didn't get looked over properly, whatever the case may be. But yeah, it's not great. Obviously, crossplay is a lot more challenging than we armchair pundits give it credit for, because as you say, this keeps happening. And it's not just between PC and PlayStation, it's PlayStation and Xbox, PC and Xbox, Nintendo and basically everything. That's mostly because their online services are held together with Silly String. But yeah, it's obviously a very complex situation to get working.
Well, I thought I would bring something up to see how you feel about it. So,
okay,
we're going to get Dorogon's raw opinion here. How do you feel about Xbox games ruling? That's the name of this headline here. I wouldn't say ruling. They're just at the top of the PS Store charts. And this is catching Microsoft CEO's attention. So, obviously, you have to take this with a bit of salt because Microsoft are claiming Activision Blizzard, which just came into their possession a year ago, and it only cost them $70 billion. One of the largest I can't talk this morning. I'm not even going to try it.
Acquisitions.
Yes, for lots of money.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic.
But here we have it. Xbox is bragging. They are on the top of PlayStation with their games. Sea of Thieves and Grounded have also landed on the top, although I don't believe Hi-Fi Rush did, unfortunately, although I think it's a very good game. The multiplayer games really ran away with the flag here. thoughts on this one?
You can't claim bragging rights for buying the two biggest publishers on the planet. And basically every single game that's in this top 20 list that Microsoft are claiming as their studios' titles, which technically I suppose they are, they were just all released before they were part of Xbox Studios. So, it's like they did this without you, bro. But yeah, I mean, Grounded, Pentiment, Sea of Thieves, Hi-Fi Rush, they're all in the top 50 sold games for the month of April. I think it's great. They're great games. They're worthy of the praise that they receive. They're worthy of being bought and played and enjoyed by more people. And they're new titles on the platform. That new titles are generally going to perform better than older titles, unless you get a cultural moment like with the Fallout TV show and everybody then wanting to go and experience Fallout, which was made before Bethesda were bought by Microsoft, but is now an in-house Microsoft Xbox studio. So yeah, they can claim it. A lot of this success was done before Microsoft started sticking their fingers in, or not, as the case may be, as we've seen with recent Bethesda games. But yeah, they're their games. It's all over the PlayStation storefront, and people get to play and have fun. That's all that matters.
And I think something to note here is that if Helldivers, Last of Us, God of War all showed up on the Xbox store, they would
dominate the Xbox
definitely
store, yeah.
yeah. So I think it's a double-edged
Unequivocally.
sword. New games attract attention, right? And that's the nature of new games.
Yeah, and especially new games or games coming to another platform that have got quality behind them. People will buy quality. People are happy purchasing and paying for quality. So yeah, it just makes sense. It's nature of the beast as it is. They will fall off that list in time, and then it'll be overrun by Sony's own first-party studios, or it'll be overrun by third-party studios. Like that is the nature of how these lists go.
Yeah, and as soon as Elden Ring DLC comes out, that'll be on top of everyone's list.
Nobody
it's
stands
always
a chance then.
it's a cycle. However, we were having a discussion here. Stellar Blade New Game Plus mode available on launch April 26th. My side of the argument is, why are you bragging for features that should essentially be coming with the game? I'm used to games that have New Game Plus there. I was a little bit disappointed to see that New Game Plus was not included in Spider-Man, that we had to wait a little bit of time to be able to get that update. I'm just not going to celebrate the fact that your game came out with New Game Plus. I don't think it should be like this extra celebrated thing. I just think it's great that you did it. And I think it should be standard with this game that sort of only has one mode throughout it. What are your thoughts on the New Game Plus and celebrating it?
I'm kind of agreeing with you, but I'm also seeing other sides to it. For me, I'm tired of buying unfinished games. God of War Ragnarok, Spider-Man 2, Days Gone, a bunch of others in more recent times, especially from PlayStation Studios, have launched without New Game Plus modes. They come in an update further down the line, generally 6 or 12 months later. And I get wanting to play a game again. I've played things like God of War 3 through to completion probably 15 times since it launched in 2010. And I never want to go into a new version of that with all of my old stuff. I have the option to, that those games launched with that sort of New Game Plus, run through it again with all of your old unlocks, but there's something about the upgrade route, the challenges, playing for the story, and maybe doing a non-upgrade run, which is really difficult. But as you say, if a game's going to have New Game Plus, surely it should launch with it. When you look at the likes of all of the FromSoft games, so whether it's Demon's Souls, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Elden Ring, Sekiro, whatever it is from that studio, they come with a New Game Plus at launch. Stellar Blade is shouting about coming with it at launch, even though it shouldn't be a shouted about thing. There's many that don't, so I understand them saying about it. And one of the reasons they wanted to put it out there is it wasn't going to be in any review, because New Game Plus was not in review copies because they hadn't got it ready. They managed to get it ready for launch day. So again, sort of two sides to that particular argument. But yeah, I'm kind of with you on this one. It's like, just launch a finished game, mate. Stop bragging about having basic features in your game at launch. That should be the norm.
Yeah. All right. Two agreeing. And there we have it.
Two agreeing.
But this game, yes, this game comes out, as you said, very well performing. Digital Foundry's tech review came out with glowing reviews saying that this is a well-performing game, extremely smooth with no load stuttering, unlike other Unreal Engine 4 games like Jedi Survivor. Loading times are only a few seconds. There's three graphics modes, and the targeting 60 FPS does seem to hold extremely well, except there's slight dips when there is intense cutscenes. But they are giving it glowing reviews in the tech review from Digital Foundry, and if you're more curious, definitely check it out. But I think this is impressive to see, especially with a lot of games that we've seen recently just not passing the bar, not really earning that gold status that I think they should have when they released their game, and feeling more like early access, where this seems very complete. So
yeah, like you say, it feels complete. On launch day they had the New Game Plus. It's running at 60 frames per second. When it's targeting 60 frames per second, it's basically locked. The balanced mode, you don't particularly notice that many frame drops. You do notice them, they are there, but there's not that many through the whole game, as Digital Foundry have said. And quality mode is basically locked at 4K, that doesn't really dip. These guys, for their first game, they've knocked it out the park in terms of technical performance, in terms of story, in terms of gameplay. I've heard very little bad about it, and when there are negatives to be spoken about the game, it comes down to jiggle physics and fashion, essentially, and just the male gaze eye candy sort of thing.
fashion.
Something you or I are not part of, yeah.
Oh, you haven't seen my multicolored shirt. It is fashion at its best.
I've seen your Hawaiian shirt and trousers matching set.
That's the one. That's fashion, bro. That's fashion.
Is that fashion? Is it?
Yeah.
That just seems lazy.
Oh my gosh.
These match. Let's put them on together.
Eggs, and it's loud. I'm wearing them for the show next time. We'll see. So this one is how do I describe it? Let's just go. Project Awakening developer says the game is not canceled. Psy Games, the developer of Fantasy Grand Blue Relink, they have announced a game back in 2016 called Project Awakening. Further along the lines, they released a trailer in 2018, which I'll be playing here. Gives you the vibes of, you know, that medieval combat, large bosses, solo RPG type experience. And now they're coming out. They haven't said anything since 2022. And in a tweet, they're saying the game is not canceled. And you should be hearing something in the upcoming months. So I think this is exciting to see. The game looks pretty cool from this 2018 trailer. However, I do get worried about games that are in development for almost 10 years. How do you feel about Project Awakening, games being in long development, issues, or do you think it'll be that much more polished?
It's a very difficult one, this one, because as Wibblesniff rightly says in chat, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink was an exceptional title, absolutely brilliant. So there's obviously quality at the studio. They can make a good game, good looking game, well-performing game, excellent story games. So I'm kind of not worried on that side of things, but as you say, it's been a very long development. We're at 8 years since announcement at this point, and you don't announce something until you've got 2 or 3 years of development under your belts currently. And that means we're over 10 years into development, and everything else that's had more than 10 years of development in recent memory has not launched well. Like the two heavy hitters that launched in awful states that just turned people away basically for good from both of them is Cyberpunk 2077 and Starfield. One of those has had a redemption arc, but it's taken 4 years to get to a point where people have started to come back to it when it's on sale for like £4 or something. And then the other one is still in its launch state. So, and Skull and Bones, of course, is over 10 years, as again, Wibblesniff is pointing out in chat. That is not a good game. So it's like, there's a proven track record with this studio, with the likes of Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. Why is that so difficult to say this morning? Call whatever you've got. But then there's this 10-year plus development, which makes it very, very hard to trust. So, you know, it's like, I think we're just going to have to see where this one lands.
Yeah, absolutely. Although side games did come out with a great, exceptional game, you hope that it is because they want to publish it. But cool looking gameplay, I will say. But that was the 2018 trailer, so it's hard to say where the game is now, 6 years after that trailer.
Yeah.
Let's jump into our pods and down to earth for democracy, as Helldivers 2 could come to Xbox as Sony begins early talks and claimed oh my goodness, claims
we're doing well.
An insider. This is the most credible sort of source that we are hearing that the Helldivers 2 could make its way over to Xbox. Of course, the massive popularity of the game is probably stirring a lot of talks. A lot of people are asking for it on the Xbox platform, and now that they're sharing games, there is a realm of possibilities this could happen, and I imagine when Helldivers 2 comes onto an Xbox store, it would be number 1 that month. Just saying. Yes. What are your opinions on this before I dive into why this shouldn't happen, at least for the near future?
Ooh. You're going my route of things should stay exclusive and these things shouldn't happen. I just said that about Xbox
I may have different
back.
reasons. I may have different reasons, so go
fair
into
play,
yours.
Fair play. So it would not surprise me if Helldivers 2 went multi-platform. For starters, it's made by Arrowhead Games, who are an independent game studio. They are not part of PlayStation Studios. They're not owned by PlayStation. They don't work for PlayStation. They just got funded by PlayStation from a publishing perspective for Helldivers 2. Now, how that works in terms of contracts, exclusivity, etc., I don't know. But as you say, the landscape has changed with Microsoft bringing their exclusives to the PlayStation platform. So there's a definite possibility for Helldivers 2 to go to Xbox. I would imagine a 12 to 24 month exclusivity period at least. But if they keep bringing updates like they have been doing, it's still going to be a live and active game at that point, allowing Xbox players to jump in. The only possible downside would be whatever contract they've signed with Sony and whether Sony actually want to uphold that contract and stop it going elsewhere. So I could see it going elsewhere with them being an independent studio, and that would be great for Xbox. And as you say, it would immediately go to the top of their charts because it is that popular. But I could also see contract negotiations and terms meaning that it can't go to Xbox. I'm happy either way. It's not a PlayStation first-party studio exclusive. It's a third-party exclusive. And these do often go to other platforms further down the line. So I was sort of expecting this anyway. But why are you feeling that it shouldn't?
Here's why. Latest Helldivers 2 patch notes fixes armor's issues and crashes, but leaves a lot broken. I said it before at the top of this show. This game is not ready to add another platform. It's barely strung together for these two platforms it's doing crossplay for. I'm streaming this game once a week, and I'm constantly having issues, and it's getting to the point of frustration. Their last update, they straight up apologized for the state of the game, because after the update, it had broken a lot of matchmaking, it broken a lot of instances. The Bile Titans were coming after me. Apparently, they were supposed to be spewing green. Nothing came out, but I was still getting poisoned. I just feel like they need to take a hard look at the engine they built this on, and I know it's old and outdated and discontinued, which is scary as a prospect for a future game. But they need to put resources behind stability. And if Sony sends 10, 15 engineers over with that exclusive job of stability, crossplay, making sure this is working in a like user-friendly experience. Destiny 2, for instance, smooth and buttery, getting into other people's games, joining during the game. I just feel like, we need to demand better before we start adding more people, because adding Xbox is going to add another headache, and I don't want another headache before we solve our current headache. And that's my position.
I can understand that. That actually makes a lot of sense. Like, the game should be stable and running and smooth. Adding anything else, I get that one. Arrowhead of 50 people, we've said this before, they probably do need 15 people sent over to just work on stability. But yeah, it's a difficult situation. You've got to find that balance as a studio of rolling out content and stabilizing that content. And you've got these ravenous fan bases like Destiny and Bungie have said it multiple times, that they, even with a studio of 2,000 people, they could not pump out enough content for the ravenous fan base. And Arrowhead are now sort of discovering that they've got a fantastically successful live service game and only 50 people running it. They're less than a third, I want to say, maybe less than a quarter of what Bungie have got, even after Bungie laid off a bunch of folk earlier this year. And yeah, it's going to be very difficult for them to get the balance of stability and updates coming. But I do kind of agree with you now that you've pointed that out, that that should be priority number one before adding additional platforms.
Yeah, and that's all I'm saying. I'm not trying to shut out anyone from playing the game. I'm just saying, hey, it may look fantastic from over there on the other side of the fence, but we're dealing with more bugs than just Terminites over here. And it is interrupting our gameplay. For instance, you know how when you get in the helicopter and you're supposed to have a 20-second countdown for everybody?
Yes.
Well, we were all running for super samples. So, hard level 8, right? And you get your way, you get all the missions done, you get the super samples, you're all there. Well, somebody else got in first who did not have the super samples, and the ship took off right away, no countdown. And at that point,
Wow.
you're just like extremely frustrated because all that effort went into something that didn't equate into you getting the super samples. But
Time
the
wasted.
bugs,
Your time.
yeah,
Your time is valuable. Anybody playing this game, for the most part, is a full-time worker, a family person. They've got responsibilities, caring of young people, old people, disabled people, whatever the case may be. They've got full lives outside of this game, and that time should be rewarded, should be honored when they're in there, especially if, like you say, you've done everything right, you've got everything, and it's just a glitch in the game that's prevented you from getting your rewards. They do need to sort that out, because your time is incredibly valuable, and if you feel it's being wasted and not valued, you'll take it elsewhere.
yeah, and you'll get frustrated. And that's kind of reflected. We are seeing lower Steam charts. I mean, you're going to see that obviously from games anyways as they progress throughout their age. But to see sort of a quarter drop, or to be down to 25% of the population it originally was, is kind of disheartening, and I would attribute a lot of that to matchmaking errors, glitches, errors. So having a game complete on launch really does go a long way, and I hope they're able to bring the numbers back up bring stability up and do better for their audience. 50 people though.
Yeah, it's still magical for 50 people, but
yeah,
they need a few more.
And
resources.
like 5 of them are super lazy. They're not doing anything. They're getting, at least 5 of them.
10% of any workforce is super lazy. Like we all know that. We've all been in a bar waiting to get served, and there's somebody just sat on their phone and behind the bar, not serving anybody, whilst the other 3 folks are absolutely rammed and running around, slipping over and struggling to get the drinks and such out. Like we all know about 10% of the workforce is lazy.
Absolutely. Well, that's all we had on the docket for today's Super PlayStation Bros. Unless I'm missing anything, let the people know what you've been up to. Oh, I am missing something. There we go.
It is Wednesday, the 1st of May. That means on Tuesday, the 7th of May, you guys are getting your PlayStation Plus Essential title. Those PlayStation Plus Essential titles will be announced in 30 minutes after this show ends, because that's always the case. So
Let's see
in 30 minutes,
now.
You guys are going to know what you're getting for PlayStation Plus Essential in May.
No, tell me now, PlayStation.
Half past 4, 11 your time, Eastern time. That's when they tell us every single time.
Oh,
there's...
No, nothing on the blog. Oh, well.
So in 30 minutes, you'll know what's going on next month.
Well, let people know what's going on the channel, Dorgon.
So as we finish up here, I will have a new video going live over on my channel. I have recently returned to Destiny 2, and it is my experience of returning after a 6-month break, which doesn't sound like much, but in a live service game, especially one as ravenous and constantly moving as Destiny, that's a long time to be away. So that will be going live as soon as we finish. So please head on over to my channel and watch that one. I would be most appreciative of you. And then otherwise, I'm working on a couple of other videos that will hopefully also be out at some point through the course of May.
Awesome. And for me,
as for yourself,
you can check out Family Game Night on the Rudig's channel this evening. We'll be getting up to some Fortnite with the family, and Cloud&Console will be live on Friday with the download. So be sure to check out social media to be updated on all those shows. And until the next time, be kind, bring peace into the world, and play PlayStation.
Take care, guys. Bye.
Try to believe in me. Why try do I even need to? I die with the season leaves. I glide with the season.